All right, well, welcome everyone. My name is Aron. This is the Project SOAR Fit class. So if you're part of Project SOAR, this is a class meant for you to be a full body workout. And especially if you're signed up for any of our upcoming trips like skiing or climbing, I've specifically put in exercises that are going to help get you ready for those two sports. But even if you're not, this is a great workout. We're going to do something a little different today. If you've been following me on the other videos, we've been doing a lot of counting with our reps. Today, we are going to do Tabata. So if you are not familiar with Tabata, it is a form of a HIIT workout, which means high intensity interval training. So when we start the workout portion, we are going to do 20 seconds of each exercise with a 10-second rest. And then we're just going to move right on to the next exercise. So I'm not going to be able to do as much explanation as I have in the past or give as many options for different things you can try, because we're going to be moving 20 seconds and then 10 seconds rest and then right on to the next exercise. So if you're not sure how to modify something or how to make this work for your injuries, send me a message, give me a call. I'll work with you so that these workouts work for you. I think that's just about it. It'll make sense once we get started. We're going to do, when we start the workout, we're going to do 15 exercises and then 30 seconds between each set. And then we're going to do 3 sets. So we're going to do those 15 exercises 3 different times. The whole thing will take about 23 minutes. So let's go ahead and get started with the warm up and the stretching so that we can get our bodies ready to do this. So I hope you've done some sort of warm up on your own. If you haven't, don't worry. We'll do a real quick 2-minute one just to get our blood pumping, our heart working. And you've been doing this with me. So, we're just gonna do 30 seconds of 4 different exercises. I like to jog and then do jumping jacks and then do high knees and squats, but you can do any variation of anything that really gets your blood pumping. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to track my workout here. Oop, that's not what I want to do. All right. And let's go with that first 30 seconds. I'm just going to jog in place. You could do this the whole time, the whole 2 minutes if you wanted. I just like to mix it up. I don't play music because it's just hard to get the sound right. But if you like to work out to music, feel free to put anything that gets your heart pumping on your playlist on your end. That way we can all listen to what we want to listen to when we work out. Okay, that was 30 seconds. Let's move on to another exercise. I'm going to do jumping jacks. Again, this is your workout. If your body is telling you it doesn't need to hop around today, you can turn this into a low impact jumping jack. Or if your arms don't want to go up that high, you can do a seal jumping jack. Feel free to make this whatever you need. All right, let's move on. 30 more seconds. Get that blood pumping. I'm going to do high knees. These 2 minutes go quickly. All right. And then our last 30 seconds, I'm going to do squats. And again, you can play this up however you want. You could do squat pulses and keep it low. You could do squat jumps. I'm just going to do regular old air squats today. You do what you need to get that heart pumping, get your body moving, and get ready for our workout today. All right, that's 2 minutes. If you need more time and you're watching this on YouTube, hit pause, go do what you need to warm up, and then come back to me, okay? Let's get started with some dynamic stretches. So again, before we really start the workout proper, we want to make sure that our body is ready. So let's come back to that idea of squats. This time, slow it down, and we're going to do this from a few different angles. So we're going to do 5 with our feet really close together, maybe even touching. Hands can be in front of you or on your hips. Let's lower down, kind of see what our range of motion is. Oh, I can feel my knees today. That's 1, 2. This is going to help you make decisions about which variations of exercises to do, just sort of checking in with how you feel. I think that's 5. Let's take it about hips distance and see how that angle feels. That was 5. Let's do 5 more and maybe take it out a little wider. Let those toes open up wider than the heels. Really keeping the shoulders over the hips. So we're keeping the body upright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Let's keep moving on. Maybe just a little side step here. Warming up our hips a lot. A lot of the exercises that we do are going to use our hips. So we just want to make sure that we're kind of warmed up in those joints. If you want to take it a little deeper, you can kind of add a little squat. And again, if you want to add a little hop, you can. Just kind of checking in, seeing how all those joints and everything feel before we get started. All right. That seems like good enough. And then let's come into a hip opening. You can do this lying on your back. I'm going to do it standing so that you can see me. It's nice to have something nearby to help you with your balance since you're going to come on one foot. So I'm going to use this chair. Just make sure whatever you're using is nice and sturdy. I'm going to let my weight come into the inside foot, pick up my knee, and then make a circle through that hip. And we'll go in one direction a few times. And then we'll take that in the other direction. Great job. We're going to stay on this same leg and kick forward and back. Just warming up that hip joint. Getting it ready for all that work we're going to do. And then we can take it side to side in front. All right. I think that's good on this side. Let's take it to the other side. So I'm going to move this chair over here. We'll do that same thing. So that inside leg takes some weight, and then let's make those hip circles. And the other direction. And then let's kick it forward and back a few times. And then kicking it front, let's take it side to side. All right, that should be pretty good for our lower body. Let's do a little bit to make sure we warm up the upper body a little bit because we're doing some workouts or some movement there as well. So let's shrug our shoulders up and back a few times. You can do that with your arms just at your side, or if you like to make chicken wings with your hands on your shoulders, you can, or you can even extend your arms all the way out. And then after we go a few times in this direction, let's switch directions. Again, any of those variations, doing what feels best for your body today. You can even do all 3 like me if you want to, just to change it up and keep it interesting. It's totally up to you. All right. And let's go ahead and bend through our sides. So we're kind of waking up those little muscles in between our rib cage. You can keep your hands at your side when you do a side bend, or you can take one arm overhead Or you could even stretch both arms up. Make sure you can still breathe here. And then let's come back to the middle. And then let's go to the other side again. Any of those variations. And then back to the middle. You can shake it out a little. And then last thing we'll do before we move on and start our workout proper is just a little movement in our neck. So we can make some neck circles, letting our ear fall over towards our shoulder, and then tilt our chin down to the middle, and then the other ear to the other shoulder, and then switch back to the first side. You can do this nice and slow, and if you get to a point where you notice that you are getting a really nice stretch somewhere, maybe there's some tension, feel free to pause there and just allow your breath to sort of let that loosen up, and then you can come back into moving. Once you feel like we're where you need to be there, let's take the chin right back down in the middle, look up, and we are ready to get started. So like I mentioned, we are going to move through this really quickly. I will call out what the exercise is. I will demonstrate, and you just do it along with me, okay? Because this is going to go really fast. 20 seconds moving, 10 seconds to rest and get ready for the next exercise, and then 20 seconds. All right, you ready? All right, I'm going to use this cool little timer I have that does all the timing for me. And the very first thing we're going to do is deadlifts. So you can do that without any weight at all. You can use your hands in front of you and do your deadlifts like that. I like to use hand weights. You could also put a strap, like one of the stretchy bands around your feet, and then pull up with the deadlift. So as we move through this, if you want to use weights, you can, or if you want to use bands, you can, but you also don't have to. You can use your body weight. All of these things can be done with body weight. But if you do need bands, remember, just reach out to me. We have some at the shop. We can get them for you. Okay? All right. Let's get ready. And we are going to start in 10 seconds. So get whatever you need to start that first round of 20 seconds with the deadlift. 2, 1, and start. Keeping that back nice and flat, squeezing in the tushy. That's what brings you back up again. Knees are soft. We're halfway through that first 20 seconds. So this goes really fast. 2, 1, and we get to pause. The next thing we're going to do is squats. And again, you can use weight or not. Totally up to you. Let's start. Time to work. Halfway. 2, 1, and we get to rest for 10 seconds. The next thing we're going to do is skater hops. So those, let's see if I can get these. Those look like this. And we start. There's our 20 seconds. It's already time. You can make this more of a hop, or you can keep this low impact and keep your foot on the ground. We're halfway through. And if you can't touch the ground, don't worry. Come down as far as you can. Just sort of reach in that direction. See that? All right, rest for 10 seconds. Next thing is those jumping lunges. But if you don't want to jump, you can do a forward lunge or a backward lunge. Time to work. And remember, you can do this as a backward lunge or a forward lunge. Just do what works best for you. 5 seconds left. And rest, 10 seconds. Next thing we're doing is planks. So we're going to bring it down to the ground. Remember, you can do planks lots of different ways. You can be up on your hands. You can be on your knees. We're halfway through with this plank. 2, 1, and rest. Next exercise is a side plank. So we're going to stay here on the ground. Remember, you can come up on your wrist or you can stay on your forearm. And we're starting now. We haven't figured it out. Really fast today. Halfway through. 2, 1, and rest. So we're going to go right over to the other side. And start. 20 seconds on this side. Halfway through. 2, 1, and rest. Next thing we're going to do is those tricep dips. Remember, you can do that on the floor or you can use a piece of furniture. I'm going to use my little chair again. Time to start. 20 seconds. Ten seconds to go. You're doing great. I know this is fast. Oh, 10-second rest. We're going to go right down to the tricep push-ups. We did these last week. I'm going to do them from tabletop. That means our elbows come right back instead of going out. We're starting already. That's halfway through our 20 seconds. And we have a rest. Next thing is bicep curls. Again, you can use a stretchy band or you don't have to use anything. I'm going to use my hand weights. So curling up and lowering down with control for 20 seconds. We're halfway through. All right, rest. We're going to move on to something called wrist curls. I'm going to use my hand weights for this. So my palms are up and I'm going to curl just through the wrist. Halfway through. This is really good for climbing and then also for skiing so that we can have control over our ski poles. All right, time to rest. The next one is going to be the opposite, where palms are down and we lift our wrists up. Again, I'm using weights, but you don't have to. Let's start. 20 seconds. So my forearm is resting on my thighs and my wrist is sort of hanging off the edge of my knees so that I have that range of motion for my hands to go down and back up. Excellent. Last 3 are on the ground. We're going to do that core work. So we're going to start with crunches. 20 seconds. Halfway through. Done with crunches. Next set is going to be bicycle twists. So reaching that elbow towards that knee, extending the other leg, and then switch. 20 seconds. Keeping that low back pressed against the floor. We're halfway through. We only have one exercise after this. And that's the flutter kick. So we're going to stay right here. Extend our legs, and then we're going to flutter kick those legs. Starting now for 20 seconds. Halfway through. Great job. We have 30 seconds to rest, and we do that all again. You have just completed your first round of today's Tabata. And we're going to start with those deadlifts when it's time to start again in 15 seconds. We're starting in 3, 2, 1, and begin. 20 seconds of deadlifts. Trying to keep good form here. Even though we're moving quickly, we want to move with intention. Thinking about squeezing our muscles. 3, 2, 1. Rest and get ready to do squats. Go. 20 seconds. Squeezing that tissue to bring yourself back up tall. Halfway through. One and rest. Next is those skater hops. This one's challenging for me. I really have to think about how to use my body. So we step back and reach down. And you can add that little hop if that feels okay for your joints. Halfway through. All right, time for lunges in just a few seconds. Remember, you can do those jumping lunges. My knees are a little upset. I'm not going to do jumping lunges. I'm just going to lunge forward and back this round. So that's what I need. Adapt to whatever your body is telling you. But if you feel like doing those lunge jumps, you go right ahead. And we're going to rest and get ready for plank. And remember, plank can look really different for everybody. So find the plank that works for you. We're starting in 2, 1, begin. 20 seconds here. Halfway through. 2, 1, and get ready for your side plank. Remember, you can leave this top leg in front of you if you want. Lots of ways to do a side plank. Find what works best for you today. You can tell we're already in it. Halfway through this one. 3, 2, 1. Lower down, switch sides. We got 10 seconds to get ready for the other side. And go, 20 seconds. Halfway. 2, 1. And let's get ready for those tricep dips. You can stay on the floor. I'm going to come up and do mine on the chair. That just feels better for me. 3, 2, 1, and work. 20 seconds of work here. Halfway through. 3, 2, 1, and done. Let's move on to those tricep push-ups. Last time I did them from tabletop. This time I'm going to step my knees back just a little further. So you can try it a different way if you want. And let's lower down and press up. We're doing this for 20 seconds. Hug those elbows in. We're halfway through. All right, we have 10 seconds. We're moving on to those bicep curls. And go. Halfway through. All right, 10 seconds. I'm going to get a little closer just so you can see what I'm saying. So with the wrist curl, we go this direction. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to sit down for this one. We have 20 seconds. Halfway through these wrist curls. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to get up and get closer to the camera again because I want to show you the reverse looks like this. So my palm is facing the other way. All right. We have started. Halfway through. And time to get back on the floor and feel those abs. We're going to start with crunches. 2, 1, begin. 20 seconds here. Halfway through. 2, 1. Pause. The next thing we're doing is those bicycle twists. So go ahead and get yourself ready. And let's go. Twist it out. Halfway through. Three, 2, 1. 10 seconds, and then we start our last exercise, those flutter kicks. Begin. 20 seconds. You're doing great. We're almost done with the second round. Can you believe it? This goes fast. Halfway through. 2, 1, and let's rest. We have 30 seconds. Remember, if you're watching this on video, you can pause this if you need a longer break. Go get a drink of water, use the bathroom, whatever. Otherwise, if you're following me live, we've got about 15 seconds to get ready for those deadlifts. So grab whatever you need. Get yourself set up. We're starting in 3, 2, 1, and let's work. 20 seconds. One, and rest. Moving on to those squats. We're moving very quickly, so get yourself ready. 2, 1, begin. Halfway through. It's the last time we're doing these today. Great job. We're moving on to those skater hops. And 3, 2, 1, begin. So this is kind of like a curtsy lunge, but then we're reaching down and then quickly moving to the other side and doing the same. Halfway through already. 3, 2, 1. 10 seconds. Moving on to those lunges. Remember, you can do those hops. I'm not going to this time. This time I'm going to change it up and do a back lunge. And let's go. Whew. Yeah, my knees are really feeling it. Halfway through there. 2, 1, rest. And we're getting ready for those planks. So I'm taking it back down. Let's begin. 20 seconds in your plank, whatever that plank looks like for you, just make sure you have good form. Shoulders are over your wrists. Halfway through, body's in a nice straight line. Use that core strength. Pull your belly up and in towards your spine. 1, and that's it. Let's come to our side. We're gonna do our last side planks of the day. Again. Halfway through. 2, 1. Lower down. We're switching right over to the other side. So that we're ready when that thing beeps. 2, 1. Begin. Halfway. You can do it. This is our last one. The last side plank anyway. 1 and drop. Time for those tricep dips. Last time we're doing these today. 2, 1, begin. We're halfway done with this exercise and halfway done with this round. So we're really moving through this. All right, tricep push-ups. Remember, you can do this a couple different ways. I've shown you from tabletop and with the knees further back. So let's go. 20 seconds. Pushing it out. This is our last tricep push-up round. Great job. We're moving on to those bicep curls. I'm going to grab my weights. Let's begin. With control, even if you're not using weight, imagine you're holding something really heavy in your hands on the way up and the way back down. 2, 1. That's it for bicep curls. We're going to move on to those wrist curls. 2, 1, begin. Halfway through. 3, 2, 1. 10 seconds. We're moving on to those reverse curls. So we just flip our hands from palms up to palms down. And let's go. Tell you what, using these weights is really making me feel this. I have a feeling my forearms are going to be sore tomorrow. But that'll be really good to strengthen for any of that climbing we're going to do. 2, 1. Last 3 exercises on the ground. We're doing that core work, starting with crunches. 2, 1, and begin. Halfway. And rest, getting ready for those bicycle twists. And let's go. 20 seconds. Halfway through. 2, 1. Rest and get ready for our very last exercise today. You are doing great, and then we'll cool down and stretch. Let's start those flutter kicks. Halfway through, you're almost there. 2, 1. Stop. Oh my goodness, great job. Go ahead and give yourself a little hug here. Maybe rock out a little, get a little massage on the low back. If you need a drink of water or to use the restroom, go ahead. The workout portion today is complete. We'll do a little cool down and stretch, and then we'll be ready to go. So we really knocked this out quickly. We don't always have to do a really long workout to get a good workout. So when we keep moving, we can really get a lot done in a short amount of time. So go ahead and get yourself about 30 more seconds, and then we'll start our cool down. All right. Let's get ready to stretch those muscles we just used. I'm going to start with a quad stretch. The last couple of weeks I've been doing this lying on the ground, so you are welcome to lie on your side. Today I'm going to demonstrate standing. So I'm using my chair for a little balance here. And shifting my weight, I'm going to lift the other foot behind me and see what that looks like. I'm sort of hugging my heel in towards my glutes, so I can stretch the front of my thigh, and I can even get a little more of a stretch in that hip flexor if I pull that leg back a little. See how that looks? Before I was kind of up here. If I go back a little with that knee, then I get even more of a stretch. So see how this feels for you. I also get a stretch in my rib cage and my chest. If you're standing like me, check that standing leg. We don't want to lock out the knee, so at least put a little bend. We're actually getting a little work there too. Let's take one more breath, and then we'll switch sides. So whatever side you just did, we'll do the other side. And again, there's lots of ways to do a quad stretch. So if you want to do one of the other variations that I've shown in previous weeks, or just that you already know, feel free to. Let's do another breath here, and then we'll move on to another stretch. And let's release. And let's come back down to the ground and into a low lunge. So I'll start with my left knee down and my right foot in front. And I'm sort of leaning into this a little bit to help open up in that hip flexor. And then I'm going to shift back and start to straighten my front leg and lift the ball of my foot and fold over the leg. So this gets me a stretch in the back of the leg. This is called half monkey in yoga. And you can kind of move between these if you want and kind of float back and forth. Or if one of these feels like it's really doing something for you, feel free to spend a little extra time there. That's what this time at the end of our workout is all about, is making sure that we are stretching out the muscles that worked really hard. So if you are feeling a muscle that really needs a stretch, go ahead and stay there. My hamstring is really needing this, so I'm going to stay here for a couple breaths. And then when you're ready, let's come back into that lunge for a moment. We're going to do a couple things here. One is whatever knee is in front, let's do a little side bend towards that side. So you can keep your hand on your side, or you could reach it over. And then let's come back up, nice and tall. Our shoulders are right over that knee, and we're going to twist towards the bent knee. And then let's come back to the middle, and we're going to switch. So whichever side you just did, we're going to do the other side and do the same thing. So we start in that lunge. Maybe lean forward so we can open up this other hip flexor. And then when you're ready, we can start to straighten the front leg and fold over it. And if you don't like being on your knee, I'm just going to show you a variation here. You could do this from a lunge that's up tall. Bend the back knee and come into a lunge, and then straighten both legs and fold over the front leg. So you see it's really similar. Just keeps that pressure off the back knee if that's something that you don't like or just doesn't feel right in your body today. Ooh, hamstrings are tight on this side too. I think I'll take a couple breaths here. And then when we're ready, we'll meet back into that lunge, and we'll do the same thing on this side. First, we'll think about doing a side bend over to the side with that bent knee. And then we'll come back up nice and tall, and then twist towards the leg with the bent knee. It's a nice little spinal twist here. Let's come back down to the middle, and then let's take it all the way down to the mat and sit with our legs further apart than our shoulders. So you don't have to come into like a wide leg split if that's not available to you, especially. But just getting your feet maybe a little wider than your shoulders, just so that we have that angle in our hips. And then let's try to sit up tall. You could also, if you've got a book or a firm pillow or rolled up blanket or yoga block, you can move your hips up onto it. And sometimes that makes this a little more accessible. You could also sit in a chair, put your legs out. So again, lots of ways to make this work for you. My knees are fairly straight in this position, but if you need your knees bent, go ahead and bend your knees. See if you can rotate through your hips so that your toes point straight up though. And then once you're in a position that feels like it's working for you, let's turn to the left leg and fold over. So your hands can be on your leg. They can be on the ground. If you touch your toes and want to grab onto it, you can. But that's not necessarily the goal. Let's try to make the goal to hinge through that hip. So not about rounding the back, but about making this hip joint articulate a little deeper. And then come back up, and we'll switch to the other side and fold over that leg. One of the ways to fold deeper without rounding your back is to think about pulling your belly in. When you tighten those abdominal muscles, that helps you fold deeper. So try to give that a try and see how that feels. You feel just a little bit more movement when you pull the belly in. Don't forget to breathe. Let's take one more breath here. And then we're going to turn right down the middle and do the same thing. We're going to fold. So you can use your hands on your legs. You can even put them behind you if you want, or you can reach in front of you. But see if you can keep that back nice and long and hinge through the hips by pulling the belly in. And see if you can keep those toes pointing up. I know they want to roll out. See if you can keep them pointing right up towards the ceiling. One more breath here. Let's come back up. And we are going to come into a figure 4 and do a little bit of stretching in our hips. Remember, there's lots of ways to do this. If you were sitting on a chair, you could cross your ankle over your knee. If you're staying on the ground, you can lay on your back and cross your ankle over your knee. You could pull your knees in towards you if you want. Or you could lift your chest towards your legs. Just make sure that you don't collapse your chest. See how like my chest is sort of collapsed? If you lift the chest up to your legs, see if you can pull your shoulders back and lift your chest. Let's do a few more breaths here. And then we'll switch sides. So I showed you all those different variations. Do whichever one you'd like on this side. And don't forget to breathe. And let's come into a seated position. You can stay on the floor. I'm going to come up to the chair just so I have a better view of the screen. Last thing we're going to do is stretch those wrists and forearms because we did some work with them today and that might be kind of new. So rotating our wrists in one direction just to ease that out a little, and then maybe the other direction. We can let our hands meet in the middle and rotate. See how I'm rotating the back of the hands and then back to the front? You can do that a few times. Feeling some snap, crackle, pop there. All right. Let's find some stillness. Take a deep breath. You can stretch your arms out and up if you want. And exhale, release. We are all done. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you have any questions, any concerns, you're trying to figure out how to adapt one of the exercises that wasn't working for you, reach out to me, leave me a comment. I do check them. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this is helping you meet your goals, and I hope to see you at some more of our events. I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks again.